Welcome to NJP Online Mathematics. Let's solve this lovely Olympiad problem. Here together, we are given that the whole of this equals 8 raised to the power of the inverse of sine x. So we are to determine the value of x in this equation here. So please, let's give the solution to this problem. Let's find the value of x to satisfy the problem, this equation here. So we are given that the whole root of 8 multiplying 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 the whole root of 8 as it continues to infinity, that this equals 8 raised to the power of the inverse of sine x. So this is the original problem we are given. We have to take note of this as the original equation. We call it equation 1, and we are also going to determine the value of x here. So from here, since this expression has root in it, and it continues with the root of 8 multiplying the root of 8, we have to determine a single value for the whole of this expression on this left hand side of this equation. So please, for us to determine the answer, the value of this expression, let's let the whole root of 8 multiplying 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 the whole root of 8 as it continues to infinity, that this equals y. Let's assume that y is the value for the whole expression here. So we are now having the second equation. Let's call this equation 2. So from here, there is need for us to clear the square roots that we are having here. So we have to take the square root of both sides, and if we take the square root of both sides, we'll be having that the whole root of 8 multiplying 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 the whole root of 8 as it continues to infinity, that this equals y. And remember, we say we have to square both sides of the equation. We have to square both sides. So this square will take away the variable y for this whole expression. So we are now having that 8y equals y square. Therefore, from here we are now having a quadratic equation, and if we arrange this in the order of its power, we are now having y square equals y square minus 8y equals 0. So we see that y is common on the left hand side, so we are now having that y all multiplying y minus 8 equals 0. Therefore, is either y equals 0 or y minus 8 equals 0. But from here, we need to take note of something in the whole of this expression that we have here, that this equals this. So from here, we have to take note that the whole root of 8 multiplying the whole root of 8 multiplying the whole root of 8 multiplying the whole root of 8, the whole root of 8 as it continues to infinity must be greater than 0 for us to determine the value of x here, must not be less than 0. That means the whole root of this must be positive, so its range of value must fall within the positive values, because the square root of this number will definitely give us a positive number. Therefore, since this is greater than 0, then our value where y equals 0 is an extraneous root is an extraneous root which will not satisfy this equation. So we are only having that y minus 8 equals 0. So from here, y equals 8, and since we are having that y equals 8, and here we are saying that the whole of this expression must be greater than 0, and 8 is greater than 0, therefore this will really satisfy our equation here because it falls in the positive range of values. Therefore this is really a positive value to satisfy this equation here. So from here, where we were having that y equals 8 raised to the power of the inverse of sine x. So now we can now substitute the value of y. The value of y is 8, so we are having that 8 equals 8 raised to the power of the inverse of sine x. So we know that the power of 8 on the left hand side is 1. Therefore, if we equate the exponents, we are having that 1 equals the inverse of sine x. Therefore, if we multiply through by sine x, we are having that sine x equals 1. But we need to recall that 1 is the same thing, that is, we are having that sine x equals 4 divided by 4. That 1 equals 4 divided by 4. That means if we divide 4 by 4, we are going to have 1 definitely. So please, we need to recall the trigonometric function. We need to recall from the trigonometric function that this is 60 degrees, and this is 30 degrees, and this is 2, this is root 3, and this is 1. That if we are having this for a right angle triangle for 30 degrees and 60 degrees including 90 degrees, that cos 30 degrees using SOHCAHTOA, if we use SOHCAHTOA for cos 60, which falls within CAH, that this is the adjacent all over the hypotenuse, that is root 3 divided by 2. And if we find sine 60 degrees, we'll be having that sine 60 which falls within the range of SO, that this is opposite over hypotenuse, which is root 3 divided by 2. So if we find sine 30 degrees, we'll be having that sine 30 degrees is opposite over hypotenuse, which is 1 divided by 2, and therefore we have to determine cos 60 degrees, and that cos 60 degrees here is adjacent over hypotenuse, which is 1 divided by 2. So we are now having that cos 30 equals root 3 divided by 2. So from this point where we were having that sine x equals 4 divided by 4, this can also be written as sine x equals 3 over 4 plus 1 over 4. So we can relate this to the trigonometric function for us to have 3 divided by 4, that if we multiply root 3 by root 3, that will be having ordinary 3, and if we multiply 2 by 2, we'll be having the 4 here. So we can express this to be root 3 divided by 2 multiplying root 3 divided by 2 plus 1 divided by 2 multiplying 1 divided by 2. And from the trigonometric functions, that if we have sine x multiplying cos y plus cos x multiplying sine y, that this is the same thing as sine x plus y. Therefore, the angle becomes sine x plus y. So where our x equals 60 degrees and our y equals 30 degrees here in this expression, so we are having that sine and the angle becomes 30 degrees plus 60 degrees plus 30 degrees. So if we add 60 degrees to 30 degrees, then we'll be having sine, the angle becomes 90 degrees. Recall that this value was for sine x, and this is for sine x, and now we are having that sine x equals sine 90 degrees. Since sine x equals sine 90 degrees, for this equation to be equal, then x must be equal to 90 degrees. Therefore, the value of x to satisfy the original equation that we were having, that the whole of this expression equals 8 raised to the power of the inverse of sine x. Therefore, the x here to satisfy this whole expression must be equal to 90 degrees. Thank you for watching. Kindly like and subscribe.